Are we looking at the greatest Manchester United squad that we've had in a while? I had to change the mic over there. That was on the bloody MacBook. How are we all? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. My head goes all over the place when there's no Manchester United to watch. But I hope everyone's doing well. Make sure you smash the video, smash the like as you come in, and make sure you subscribe if you are new. Today we are going to talk about the Manchester United squad, and is this the best Manchester United squad that we've seen in a long time? We're going to look at transfers over the past few years, and my God, when I look back into the transfer windows we had, there were some absolutely terrifying ones for us to witness. But before we do, I'm going to turn my self off there. We don't want to bloody hear me twice, do we? Before we do, as I said, let's get some welcomes in there. By the way, I've put the community link on there for the membership. Make sure if you fancy doing it, it is going to be something that I am absolutely putting more into. I've got a lot of ideas with the content that we're going to do for the members. But again, links there, have a look. Welcome, Chappie. Hope you are well, mate. Good to see you first in tonight. Wah ha ha, wah ha 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 ha. Good to see you, my friend. And Jamie, evening, Dan, and everyone. Hope you're all good. We are all good tonight. There is some reality that I'm going to dose us all with tonight. And good evening, Moxie, OG. The OG in the house. Hope you're well, mate. I hope your belly's okay after the kebab you had last night. I really want a kebab tonight. Let me know what you're having for tea as well. I'm so far gone. What do you mean I'm so far gone? What do you mean you're so far gone? Well, give me some context. So let's go straight into it. What I want to pull up the transfers that Manchester United did this season. Oh, right. Singing. Mate, I'm sorry. So this is what Manchester United did this transfer window. So as you can see here, we have Benjamin Sesko come in, Brian Mbeumo, Cunha, Lemmy, and Diego Leon. Now, when you look at the outgoings that we've seen Manchester United get rid of this season, and we've seen a fair few, we have seen, right, let's go from the top. So we've got Johnny Evans went to Jonathan Evans he retired, bless him. He's now a loan manager. We got rid of Ericsson. We got rid of Lindelof. Who else have we got rid of? Anthony, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. Who else is there? There's more than that. There is much more than that. Let me have a quick look. I'll be able to list them to you. I've said Ericsson. Rasmus Højlund's gone as well. Collier's gone on loan. So straight away, I mean, for players that have left the club, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players left our club this season. Now, yeah, appreciate obviously looking at it. I love that, Goat Father. Looking at it, you could say a lot of them have gone out on loan, and you could say that we haven't replaced each and every one of them here. But we know that there was a process with the way we were doing things. I want to take you on a trip down memory lane. A trip down memory lane of just how bad Manchester United's transfer windows have been and why it has contributed to what has been probably one of the worst squads that Manchester United have seen. Now, over the years, we've done some transfers. When you look at it, there's been no real thinking as to why we've brought them in. And before we go into it, there has been so much noise today. And I love the media doing this, where they try to do that whole civil war. There's civil war at Manchester United. Apparently, reports are coming out that Ruben Amorim was all for Mainu going, because as we know, his stance on the football club with the players that we have is simple. If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Which is good in some aspects. When you see the likes of Rashford, when you see the likes of Sancho, Garnacho, I look at that and I go, yeah, fantastic. That's what we want to hear. But when you see players like Mainu, who is a Manchester lad, who absolutely gets it, I know that Rashford is, but Rashford's had his chance. That worries me, that Amorim is willing to just give up and say, nah, off he goes. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. And I do feel like, judging by the noises that you hear within the club, I wonder if that was the biggest game of chicken and he lost, because he has, I think, behind the scenes made it abundantly clear, if you don't want to be here, off you go. And because Mainu said, yeah, absolutely, I'll go. I love the club, but I want to go and play football. It's forced the likes of Barada, the likes of Wilcox, and the likes of Sir Jim to step in, I think, and say, he ain't going anywhere, Ruben. You know, we cannot allow this kid to go anywhere. So the media will paint it as there's a bit of civil war going on. I think there is an element of truth in it. I do think Ruben had got to a point where he said, "Now I'm happy for him to go." If he'd have gone, I just worry what we'd have done with the midfield, because there are other reports that apparently Ruben Amorim was furious on Monday when the transfer window finished and we hadn't brought in Conor Gallagher. He wanted Conor Gallagher. Manchester United, as we know, obviously went out and tried to get that deal done. In doing so, what they tried to do was get him in on loan. Now, Atletico Madrid, from the second United even registered interest, had already made it abundantly clear that this was going to be a full transfer or nothing at all, which I respect that. You know, at the end of the day, he is their player. And I've seen some Manchester United fans say, "Oh, this is ridiculous. You know, they should have allowed him to come to us. They don't want him." They want to make money. And this is the difference between other clubs and Manchester United. Other clubs will put their foot down and say, "Well, we'll keep hold of him then. Either you pay the money or we'll keep hold of him." I think that there was a direct correlation there between Amorim saying, if you don't want to play for the club, you go, and then wanting Conor Gallagher in. Now, if you're asking me if Conor Gallagher is better than Kobe Mainoo, absolutely not. And I can sit here and I can say that with chest. I will say that with chest. I think Conor Gallagher is a good player, but he left Chelsea last season, went to Atletico Madrid, and look, I kind of feel like if there's murmurings that a player isn't wanted at Atletico Madrid, then they've obviously ultimately not done enough for their manager. Diego Simeone demands a lot of his players. So again, if he's not cutting it there, and we've got a manager who equally wants to demand a lot of his players, then I wonder why we'd even look at it. I wonder why we'd even look at it. So, whereas Manchester United didn't buckle, didn't go out there and do something silly and pay the money for a Gallagher, which again we absolutely would have done a couple of years ago, I think we actually have done the right thing. I think we've done the right thing there, and I think we can move along now with the squad the way it is, and hopefully try and make an impact in the Premier League this season. Now, as I've said, we've got a couple of really tough games coming up, games that I do actually think that we can get results in. But I just thought it was interesting to hear that the Conor Gallagher situation apparently in the background of Manchester United created a divide. So it's interesting. And actually, another thing I'll say about this is I am actually all for the board not giving Amorim everything he wants, because we've seen this before. Ten Hag turned around and asked for Anthony, he asked for Martinez, he asked for Ericsson, he asked for Onana. I'll say that again, asked for Onana. He asked for a whole group of players that he wanted, and we went out and got them, and they weren't good enough for the club. So I think sometimes you've got to have people in the background that will absolutely turn around and say, "Ruben, with the greatest of respect, we don't think he will fit what Manchester United are trying to do." I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with it. But let's go through some of these comments, then I'll go through what it is that oh God, it stunned me. Absolutely stunned me. Go Father, good to see you. He says, I'll read down on my chat. My YouTube notifications are going crazy, but I'm here. The rest can wait. Love that. Superstar. Anthony says, Dan the man, and all you legends, regulars, OGs, and of course the cat. I don't know where he is today. He's sulking. He's absolutely sulking. Figured Amorim would like Gallagher. I did too. Dugout, big shout out to you, my friend. I hope you're well. You're definitely doing well, mate, with Isaac. Thoughts on leaving Spurs? Do you know something? With the greatest of respect, Doug, it didn't even cross my mind to even bother talking about it. It's Spurs. They're Spurs. We're Manchester United. I'm sure United, Spurs fan bases will be absolutely delighted. He has done a lot of, he's done his best to alienate the fans, hasn't he? Some people are saying that Spurs might go on and do something now. Who knows? Jamie says Gallagher is too attack-wise to what we need. Absolutely agree with that. And Dugout says Mainoo is better than Gallagher. Completely agree. Go Father says, give Amorim time, judge him after at least 3 windows, in my opinion. And I can see exactly why he's saying that. And what I would follow on with that goes back to what I've just said. We have had it in the past where we've wanted players and the manager hasn't been backed. However, I just look at players like Conor Gallagher and I don't sit there and I don't get giddy and the hairs on my arm. Oh my God, we could actually go out there and do this transfer. I think that would be the epitome of a panic buy. And again, I just worry if we'd have got If we'd have got Conor Gallagher in, say the day before, so on the Sunday, if we'd have done the deal, brought him in, then I would have started to worry about Mainu. Then I would have started to panic about what we were going to do. So I think they've absolutely made the right decision there. And what else have we got? Moxie says 100% the old regime royally fucked the whole Amarin rebuild, hence why Barada come out and said 3 years to get it sorted. We have to be really patient and can't stay on this managerial go-around. Yeah, I'm merry-go-round, I agree. Wouldn't be surprised if you beat City after the international break. There's a few people saying that, Doug. There's a few people, mind you definitely want us to. Although I don't think City are even challenging you this season, to be fair, bro. And Moxie says, yeah, remember to hit the likes, people. Let's make sure we're smashing the likes as we're coming in here tonight. And Andy, good to see you, my man, says, didn't want Gallagher, not good enough. And this is true. I'll tell you what, look, it's a couple of minutes in. Let's do one. Let's do a poll. Do you think we should have gone for Gallagher? I do that so many times where I type it isn't fucking typing it in. Do you think we Gallagher, there we go. I don't even know if I spelled it right there. Gallagher, that'll do. Yes or no? Do you think we should have gone in and got Gallagher? Yes or no? Nice and straightforward. You know I don't like to do too silly a bloody question. It's going to make you think too hard. And come on, lad. Yeah, let's make sure we get the likes up. You listen. Don't upset Anthony, for the love of Christ. Connor, perfect. Connor Gallagher. I love how Baba Flossie's put the names together. Connor Gallagher. Perfect Bruno replacement. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Rob Taft, good to see you. Evening, hit the like, make sure you do. And Gallagher playing for Man United, just unheard of when you have Oasis duo supported City. We're already less in midfield. Gallagher would bring his experience, says Baba. What experience? What experience would Gallagher bring? When I look at it, right, if we were to replace Mainu, it would have to be for someone like Baleba. Or if we'd have bought a Douglas Luiz in or someone like that, it would have had to have been someone that I think would have bettered the team. I don't think Conor Gallagher betters the team. I mean, you know, we can all be Conor Gallagher. You're going to ask why I've got a fucking wig in my bedroom. This is because I'm dressing as 11 from Stranger Things. We can all be Conor Gallagher. There we go. Let me get this on. There you go. You don't need to sign him. You got him here. Saying, look at that. Luscious locks. Fucking serial killer behaviour, that, isn't it? Look, it's done to me, yeah. I can't believe. Welcome, Isaac. He says, I can't believe Levy has finally gone. Think Tottenham's potential is very scary for the rest of the league. Well, we'll see. And agree, Moxie, buddy, the board have a lot to fix. The board was changed, new training ground. That is key, remember. We got the new training ground and start of a new team, never getting everything in one window. But so far, the buys are good. I would rather take Connor on loan as another option, but Mainu has to stay. I could have took that. I'd have happily took that. Gone at Wigan, it's Robbie Savage now. I'm definitely not that much of a twat. Right, so with the transfer windows we've been used to, like we've all said, I think we've all started to see this season that there is an actual plan as to how we are trying to better this Manchester United squad. And you know something, like Anthony said, like Moxie said, we weren't going to fix this transfer window, this squad in one transfer window. We weren't. Let's look at the signings from last season, okay? I've got a whole bunch of these, by the way. So last season, we had Lenny Yoro, Ugarte, De Ligt, Xerxes, Dorgu, Mazraoui, and Heaven. Now, would you say that is a decent transfer window? Take Ugarte out of it, and I think that was a decent transfer window because you'd look at Lenny Yoro, definitely going to be playing a lot this season. De Ligt started the season well. Joshua Xerxes, who we know Wahaha is a big fan of him. The jury's out with me. Mazraoui and Aiden Heaven. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this one up first, and Anthony, you're right, they're not bad signings, is because let's bring the other one back up. So these are the signings made by Ineos. Okay, so we've got Sesko, Brian, Cunha, Le Mans, Lemmy, Leon. So that's 5. I know you choked then. Yoro, Ugarte, De Ligt, Xerxes, Dorgu, Mazraoui, and Heaven. So what's that? That's 12 signings that Ineos have made. And I've got to be honest, out of all of them, the only one that I look at and I go, not happy, it has to be Ugarte. So when we talk about Manchester United and they need to be ready for this rebuild of 2028, where we are going to be then going and challenging for the Premier League, what I actually think that they've done in the background, and I know a lot of them weren't Wilcox signings or Barada signings, but we've actually got the groundwork done to change this squad entirely. Because when you look at the season before this and you look at who we signed, well, then this is where it starts to get scary. And this window literally had Ten Hag written all over it. So Højlund, I still think would have been a good backup to Sesko. Mason Mount, yes, Mason Mount has started looking decent now, but it's taken him 2 years. He's not been able to keep fit. Onana, biggest joke of a goalkeeper I've ever heard of. Amrabat, 2 or 3 decent games, was rubbish. Binder, again, look at that. We signed our two clowns in the same season. Sir Jonathan Evans, of course, and Reguilon, who never played. Then we go as far back as the season 22-23. And this one, again, Anthony, Casemiro, the definition of a panic buy. Martinez, yes, you could say okay. Malacia, Wout Weghorst, I won't have anyone say a bad word about that man. Absolutely bloody adore that bloke. Dubravka, Eriksson, Sabitzer, and Butland. So let me pause for a second before I go any further. So 22-23, which as we know was when Ten Hag took over. Okay, we know that Ten Hag took over there. The signings, that is scattergun approach. And if I go back to them, Anthony no longer at the club. Malacia we're trying to get rid of. We'll go with permanent transfers. Eriksson no longer at the club. Rasmus no longer at the club. Onana trying to get rid of. Amrabat no longer at the club. Binder trying to get rid of. Johnny Evans no longer at the club. What I'm saying here is it just looks to me that Manchester United, when you see we had no clear transfer plan. Under this new plan that we've got, this new backroom trio of Barada, Wilcox, and Vivell, I genuinely, and I'll bring up this season's, I genuinely see that there is a plan in place to try and sort this squad out. When you look, we got Sesko. Now, I heard Louis Saha coming out and saying stuff about Sesko today. With the greatest of respect, Louis Saha, you were a decent player for us. If you could have stayed fit, you could have been a great player for us. But I'm not going to take that on board. Then we've got Brian and Cunha. And then we've got Le Mans, who, again, jury's out. We don't know how good he's going to be. But all 5 of those players, bar, I'd say, okay, so yeah, 5 of those players will be, providing that they do okay and that they stick to what we want them to do, will be Manchester United players for at least a minimum of 4 years, okay? Minimum 4 years. When we go to the season before that, you've got Lenny Yoro, long-term. De Ligt, long-term. Xerxes, long-term. Patrick Dorgu, long-term. Mazraoui, maybe not. Aiden Haven. So you can see that Ineos's plan is not about, it's like an old saying, okay? You know, you've got a mate who goes out and blows all of their wages on the piss all the time. Just goes out and, that guy was me, by the way, before I met Mrs. Robinson. What Manchester United seem to be doing here is instead of living for today, they're planning for tomorrow. Instead of buying for this year's success, they're planning for later years' success. It gets worse, okay? And there is a transfer window that I'll show you in a minute. I'll go through the comments that will have you go, how didn't we do something different with that? Let me go through the comments quickly first, and then we'll go through that. There are some absolute humdingers in this. Absolute humdingers in this. They're not bad signs at all, says Anthony. Gallagher, if he wasn't good enough for Chelsea, then he isn't good enough for us. I love that. Kev, honestly, man, you're at the pub again, man. He's not got a problem. I'd like to say that. Can we do a poll? The chances of Dan and Mrs. R joining me at the Plough tonight, mate. School night. My golden rule is a school night. Never go out on a school night. Nothing ever comes good of going out on a school night, especially working in the world of insurance with the people that I work with. Oh, God. I'd love to, though. I absolutely would love to. Absolutely would love to, but no, it's a school night, mate. Tomorrow, though. I'm joking, of course. I know Mrs. Robinson will hear that. Probably only Ugarte, who hasn't really worked out in Xerxes for me. Dorgu was January, so possibly a 7 out of 10 window. And Anthony says Ugarte, the player Amorim had, but sold as he didn't work. And Randy also comes in with Ugarte was a bench warmer at PSG, not good enough. I think Ugarte was the last signing that Ten Hag really pushed for. I think he absolutely pushed for him, and it failed miserably. Did you have to show that? I just spewed in my mouth. Come on, mate. Jamie says, I think we start Lemmy and Sesko against City and Chelsea. We need a top finisher and a keeper that can catch a ball. Why risk it with the other two Muppets? Love that. Ten Hag is a fraud. Love that as well, Goat Father. It's been proven, by the way. It's been proven that he is a fraud. The guy's been sacked after 2 games. Letting Sabitzer go when we could have signed him permanently fairly cheap was a mistake for me. I agree with this, Moxie. Sabitzer was a player, when we signed him, I was gassed. I remember, this is how bad I was. I had him on Flight Tracker. I was so excited to get Sabitzer. Absolutely so excited. Rob Taft says, wow, highlights how incompetent the last lot were. Very random. And it will get more random. Trust me, I've gone back 10 transfer windows. No Manchester United games, so let's discuss other things. The last 10 windows I've gone back through because I want to show you all just how ridiculous we have been at trying to sign players and plan for the squad. And yet again, like I said, instead of planning for tomorrow, not fucking trying to do it for today, that's exactly what we did. We tried to live for this season. I think I'm the only player, the one that liked Reguilon. He played good when he came on. I hadn't got a problem with Reguilon, by the way. I thought Ten Hag absolutely was ridiculous, that poor lad. I remember when he first signed for Spurs from Madrid. Everyone was like, "This guy's going to be quality." Another clanger from Ten Hag, says Andy. First season test every player. Get rid of the problems. Keep those that you can use next window, and change the rest plus academy to fill gaps. We've done something quite like that, haven't we? We've done something a little like that. What have we got here? So definitely, Andy. There we go. I'll let you two carry on talking together. I liked Reguilon. Just didn't really understand it. It was a panic buy, wasn't it? Liked. Is this a joke title? It's not a joke title. It's a question. There's a question mark niche. There's a question mark niche fan. It's a question mark about is this been our best squad? I should have maybe I'm not taking the blame. It wasn't to try and get people interested. I'm asking if this is the best squad so far. And I don't have to drink. I can't walk into a pub and not have a beer, mate. Christ almighty. Kev will be singing outside you. He does every night anyway. Our best team was when we had CR7, Tevez and Rooney up front. Yeah, no denying that. And I do that every night. So did you see the Build article that why Eric Ten Hag got the sack? 3 ex-coaches, Oli Jose, Eric Ten Hag sacked in those days. Yeah, completely agree. Good to see Mustafa in here as well. Ten Hag's a fraud as a manager, but entrepreneur. The highest paid failure ever, isn't it? It's now Jose Mourinho, isn't it? Jose Mourinho has earned over 100 million in sackings. That is absolutely ridiculous. People say who'd be a football manager. I would absolutely do it. I wouldn't even care about my reputation if I won 100 million. If I was given 100 million. I'm with you, Jamie. Thought Reguilon should have got more game time. Probably the best it's looked for 10 years. And this is what I'm trying to get at, Anthony. This is what I'm trying to get at. Shouldn't have sent Reguilon back early as we didn't have a left back fit. Also, Alvaro, another trash decision by Eric. I agree. And Mark says, what about seeing Kone and Leon in the midfield? Tired of seeing Amorim's girlfriends, Dallo and Bruno. Well, Dallo's reportedly picked up an injury. So I think we might miss him for a bit of muscle injury. And Andy says, question. Dan, who do we get rid of next season? Casemiro, Ugarte, and Dallo. I'll pin that because I want to come back to that at the end of the video. I do want to come back to that. Leon looks okay for the under-21 gesture, but not ready yet. And I think people need to remember he is young. So let me go to the this was the transfer window that I think if we all look back to it, I reckon we all went, oh shit, this is it. We're moving into overdrive. This was the window that got everybody gassed, and we went, wow, look at this team, man. And on the basis of it, when you just look at those 3 signings, I mean, you can take Tom Heaton as well. You look at it and go, wow, Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane, Cristiano Ronaldo. When you look on the basis, I mean, it's the spine, isn't it? You've got a winger, you've got a defender, you've got a striker, Mr. Midfielder. But this is where Manchester United fooled the fans. This is where we looked at it and we went, we are ready to take that next step. And what actually we're seeing, let me just get rid of that. Let me get rid of my badge a second because I don't want two in there. This is where we started to fail massively. Now, we all know the old story that this summer, the summer of 21-22, where we got Sancho, we got Varane, that we didn't want anybody else. Ollie was absolutely happy because he had a way he was going to play football. But then Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, which was George Mendes, pulled an absolute blinder. He released it to the world that Man City were looking to sign Ronaldo, and Manchester United went, absolutely not. We would absolutely die if we saw one of our club legends line up for one of our biggest rivals. Remember, Schmeichel did it. It hurt. So this was the season where we looked at it, thought it was okay, and this is where I don't think Manchester United, ever since this season of 21-22, I don't think we've ever fully recovered from that. I think that's where it really started to implode because we had players at the squad that weren't getting game time because of the manager not wanting them to. We had players like Varane, who we paid 40 million for, paid a massive wage bill for him, and he couldn't stay fit. He was injured constantly. And then Sancho, the less said about that bozo, the better. However, when we go to the season before, this season, I think, is probably one of the worst transfer windows. There is one that's worse, which I'll show you shortly. I remember us signing Donny van der Beek, and I remember Mark Goldbridge and co going, that's it. We absolutely have got a player here who's going to go on and do great things. And Ollie couldn't stand him. Ollie did not want him. Diallo, 21 million. I remember us signing him on deadline day and then loaning him back, and everyone went, oh my God, this kid's got so much potential. Tellez didn't really last long, as we know. Pellistri never really got the full. I don't think Pellistri ever got a full chance for me. I liked Pellistri. I don't think he got the decent rub of the green. And then Cavani, I think the last true striker that, apart from Ronaldo, but whatever, but the last true definition of a hard-working striker that battled that we've ever had. Like, I don't think we've had a striker like Cavani since he's left. I honestly don't. This guy was an absolute beast, an absolute unit, and he was a complete and utter warrior. He was imagine if we'd have got Cavani like 5 years before. I loved him. I absolutely adored him. So then, the season before this is again interesting. Out of this team, out of these signings, now this transfer window, let's have a look. We spent 150, 150, 200. So we spent about 220 million that transfer window. And who did we bring in? We brought in Harry Maguire, who is still here, who I think still has a big part to play at Manchester United. We bought Bruno in the January. Wan-Bissaka, who another one I think had a bad run on the green. Dan James, who again was the definition of a squad player that I don't think we should ever have got rid of. And Igalo, who come in on a loan fee. Manchester United, I think, again here, were all over the place with who they were trying to sign. I think they were all. I don't see a clear plan here. Yeah, you can say we got, 2 wingers, a defender, and a midfielder, but Bruno wasn't really thought about. We were going to wait till the end of the season to get Bruno. So at that point, it was 2 defenders and a midfielder because Iggy didn't come in until December. So Manchester United, again, showing that there was just no planning. And the theme of this video is, guys, before I go on to the next slide, is simple. Whereas we expected more, and we're always going to expect more, it's the transfer window. And whereas I have been critical of Amorim, I actually feel like for the first time in a long time, and actually I'll go as far to say 10 years, Manchester United seem to be building what they want to achieve. Yes, I know the formation has let us down slightly. Yes, I know that we have had issues. Yes, I know the goalkeeper isn't good enough. But I think there has been so much positive signs in the way that we've started games. Take Grimsby out of it because that was just abysmal. That are we actually looking at a Manchester United side that is literally 2 or 3 signings away from being able to push up that table and consistently challenge for a Champions League place? And I'll say that I don't care what people say. I don't care if I'm clipped up and laughed at for that. But Manchester United, we know the midfield's the problem here, and we know right wing back, can't say that quick, are a problem here. If Sesko can hit the ground running, if Cunha gets back fit, if Brian keeps continuing on the trajectory he is, if the goalkeeper does well, if the three centre-backs really start to hold it down, well, then Manchester United are in a good spot here. And if we get 3 of those signings in, which the reports that are coming out about next year's transfers, which I don't like that normally, which is why I haven't done any shows on them, because they don't really, for me, I don't think they're worthy of a full video. But the reports are that we will go full in for Baleba, and if we don't get Baleba, it'll be Wharton next summer. If we get players, like I keep saying if we get them now, this Manchester United team starts to transform. And I remember something similar like this happening. I remember when Klopp did it, when Klopp started to bring in players for the formation and for the position, and then he built the squad. And Manchester United absolutely need to build a squad. But I just look at the previous transfer windows where it was a scattergun approach, and I look at the last 2 that we've had. I mean, you can count Dorgu as one as well. And I think they're moving in the right direction. Now, let me go to the season where I think was the worst transfer window that we had. And it was under Jose Mourinho. This transfer window was abysmal. We brought Fred in for 59 million. Diogo Dalot, who at that point was untried and untested, still at the club, but the jury is still out on him. And Lee Grant we bought for 1.7 million, which is just a joke as well. That was the worst one for me, because that was the season where Jose Mourinho had just finished second in the league, had said that, look, this is the best accomplishment of my career with the players I've got. That was the season that Manchester United needed to back Jose and to bring better players in. And it absolutely went wrong. It went wrong with us. It went so wrong. So we've seen this happen before. What I don't want to happen is I don't want to see another summer like this. We can't see another summer like this. Manchester United have to make good on the promises that they're making. And they can't go into next summer and go, right, well, okay, we had a big outlay last season, so this season we'll perhaps bring the one in. They have to evolve with the times. They have to evolve with what other clubs are doing. They have to look around the Premier League and see that other teams are trying to do what they're going to do. Spurs, everyone's saying that all gloves will, all the gloves are off, the bets are off. They are going to go for it now and be a team to dominate. Manchester United have put the work in this season. Now they have to tweak it and finesse it, or else they will get absolutely pulverized. The season before that was Lukaku, Matic, Lindelof, and then we had that fucking Sanchez signing. Honestly, one of the worst signings. So close to being as bad as Jadon Sancho. And then we had the summer where I genuinely, for the first time since 2002, I'm going to say 2002. It was just off the back of the World Cup. I love David Beckham, and I was so excited to go get his shirt again, number 7. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. When we signed that guy, I was like a little girl, just been bought My Little Pony for the first time. I was so in love with this guy, and I ran to the store to get his name on the back of my shirt. This summer we went with Paul Pogba, Mkhitaryan, who I don't think ever really worked out as good as he should have, Eric Bailly, who couldn't stay fit, and Zlatan. The whole purpose of this video has been to show you exactly where we've gone with transfers and how it's looked for us as a club. When you look at certain teams, when Pep joined City, the first thing he did, he went and tried and get a goalkeeper because he said Joe Hart wasn't good enough. Then he went out there and got the wing-backs sorted, and the wing-backs dominated. Managers come in to a club and managers spot where the problem is, which we know that Amorim did when he come in, and they get backed to make the changes. They get backed to sort the flow of the team out. Manchester United, for such a long time, have brought managers in, have relied on them to buy what they know. We saw it with Mourinho, Matic, Lukaku. We've seen it with Ten Hag, just went out and bought what he knew. Now we are looking at a manager in Amorim he doesn't know about Brian Mbeumo. I mean, of course, he probably knows of him, but this won't be a player that he's played for him. Same with Cunha, not an ex-player. This is the first time for a long time that we've seen a manager go out there and bring players in who are not ex-players. How many times have we seen managers go and buy players that have played under him before? We haven't seen that under Amorim. I'm struggling to think if there isn't. No, there's nobody. Is there? Ugarte, you could potentially say, but I mean, he sold Ugarte off, and Ugarte was brought here before he got here, so I won't take that one. But it's quite refreshing that we've had a manager here who has gone out there and done his business, but not just as going for players that he knows. And I think that proves that the whole way that Manchester United are looking at transfer window and transfer market situations here is they're going out there and they're doing their work. And there is a clear process in what they are trying to buy and what they are trying to better. So for me, I think it's great news. Am I airing too much of a wave of happiness here, considering that there have been bad performances? Maybe. But there's one thing that I'm always going to be, and that's an optimistic Manchester United fan, regardless of what we had last season. It can only get better from last season. Let's go through some more of these comments. Varane never looked good at Real when Ramos was out. Wasn't that hyped about him? I remember we missed out on him from when. Where did they get Varane from? Was it Lons? Was it RC Lons? I think it was Lons. We were in for him, and he went there. And Yoro's a reincarnation of Varane. I tell you what, if Yoro can win half of what Varane has won for Manchester United in his career, I'd be over the moon. I was happy with those names, but it was the era of the quick hit shirt sellers rather than building for the future. And Rob is absolutely spot on there. Most of those players that you see that United signed were big names that sold shirts. Manchester United for too long cared more about the name on the back of the shirt than what this is on the front. This badge, Manchester United fans, rival fans. And rival fans will understand what I'm saying here. This badge that we wear with pride on our chests. This is what it's all about for us. Yeah, we fall in love with players, but ultimately, this is what will always stand the test of time. People say that the only love you'll ever have is your partners, your family. Take your family out of it. Your football club is the longest love you will ever have for something other than your wife or your husband or your children. Because this football club will have been there before you met your wife. It will be there before you had your children. It won't be there before your family. But that love will be there forever. And these football players that we've been signing, some of these mavericks, these renegades that we've been bringing in, these people who have been so happy to take a wage off Manchester United, most of them have never got that. They've never understood that this here is what it's all about for the football fans. I don't think the owners have ever really truly got in touch with that. So Jim says that he's a Manchester United fan, and yeah, great, okay. We need to make sure that he comes good on what his promises are for the club. But this right here will always matter more than the name on the back of the shirt. It always will. Unless you are someone like a Bobby Charlton or a George Best or a Duncan Edwards or a Roy Keane. But then Roy Keane, he was kicked out of the club. This will always be the thing that makes the most, that matters the most. On paper, Moxie says everyone was excited for CR7 to come back, but Ollie didn't want him, and ultimately was why he got sacked. We were playing so well, and it may have been a different story for Ronaldo. Ronaldo hadn't come. I don't know if anybody watches Marvel, but they're doing the what if thing, and it kind of, what if Thanos managed to do the click and all that nonsense. There's a weird world world going on in my head where I would absolutely have loved to have seen just how Manchester United would have been if we hadn't assigned Ronaldo. The style of play would have been different. He's already come out, Ollie, and said that he was planning on playing with Rashford, Martial, and Sancho as a revolving three and making it very fluid. I wonder how different that would have been. I genuinely wonder. Sancho, I like that, Kev. Sancho. I only liked CR7 from that window as he was going to City. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And look, I'm bashing Ronaldo here. Ronaldo is an absolute club legend, and I haven't honestly the feeling of love that I felt on the day when he made his comeback against Newcastle and he scored that. It was a tap in, but when he run off with his little, he was like this, wasn't he? He was like that, and he did the. I jumped up. I don't even care saying this, but he jumped up and did the Sue. I was in the front room doing exactly the same. Ronaldo, man, honestly. Donny should have been good. He looked awesome, but was absolutely dog shite, and he was. And the thing with Donny was, I mean, there were so many arguments here where it was like he didn't get the right, chances. He was a Ten Hag player. Ten Hag couldn't get in the Ten Hag squad. So it just doesn't work out with some players. Cavani was okay, just injuries, says Mustafa. I thought he was incredible, mate. I think we signed him a couple of years too late, though. Van der Beek you thought he was a great signing. Turned out to be an absolute hit misery, though, didn't it? Except for Cavani, he was class, but never started enough. And Donny van der Beek. What? Oh no, is that? Yeah, I'm gonna say it's DVB. You're saying there, Mustafa. Wasn't great, awful. Big mistake for me was Pogba. Pogba was the birth, I think. Pogba Lingard was the birth of that changing room turning into an absolute shit show. Rooney said it several times that, after some losses, they'd all be in there dancing around and having fun and, enjoying life still. Rooney comes from a time where if Manchester United lost, it wasn't just the fans that felt it. Nowadays, let me say it like this. Nowadays, you get the players come out. We've seen Luke Shaw do it. We saw Diogo Dalot do it against Grimsby, where they come out and they go, this isn't good enough for the club, and we want to do better. The fans deserve better, and we want to get the club to where it is. And you sit there, you watch them, and you go, they're absolutely talking out their arse. It's scripted. They've probably been programmed with what to say. They don't care. Manchester United of old, they absolutely cared. They absolutely were heartbroken if we lost games. They absolutely took it on their shoulders. You listen to Gary Neville talk, Phil Neville talk, Keno talk. You listen to Van Nistelrooy talk. You listen to Steve Bruce talk. You listen to Van der Sar talk, Beckham talk. You listen to Giggs talk. You listen to all these players, Dwight York, Andy Cole. You listen to all talk about how it was to be a Manchester United player if you lost. Sir Alex Ferguson's main rule for years was to win the Premier League, you can lose no more than 3 games. And I remember I used to live my life by that. You get a couple of games in, you think, we've lost 2 already, we can only lose 1 more. That was the mindset that this manager put the fans in. Nowadays, it's just Insta. Sorry, we weren't great today, but we go again. Love to the fans. Thanks. Ridiculous. The modern day footballer, man. We should have kept Wan-Bissaka. I said this and I got mocked. Damn, I thought Ahmad was a Man United academy player. No, he wasn't. We got him from Atalanta. Been saying since the end of the window to all those saying it was terrible, you have to go a long way to find a better window. And this is it. You do have to go a long way to find a better window. Let me just have a quick look at the poll a second about the Conor Gallagher one. So the Conor Gallagher one finished on 55% saying yes. Wow. Okay. That surprises me. That surprises me, I tell thee. And let's make sure someone hits that like. We're on 19 likes. Let's try and hit 20 before the end of this stream. And as Wahaha, there we go, quite rightly says, like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show. Helps the channel out a lot. A lot. It absolutely does. Rob Taft says 18-19, shocking lack of backing. It was, and we all know what happened halfway through that season. That is where Mourinho was sacked. Last player I really wanted and we eventually signed was Ander Herrera. That we dropped a bollock with Ander Herrera. We should never have let that lad go. He was a player and absolutely got what it was to be a Manchester United player. When I look at the list of Manchester United signings, I think I could probably count on one hand how many of those players come with the mentality of wanting to win, of wanting to be the best. One person I put in there is Casemiro. As much as his body, bless him, is failing him, you know that he wants what's best for Manchester United. He wants to win for Manchester United. It's just unfortunate that it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for him as much because of his age. Anything from Chelsea is a scam, says Akko. But Van Gaal kind of made him worse. It's fair. He was good for us. Varane was quality but needed him earlier. Same with Casemiro. This is a great comment by Rob Taff. Evening, Neil. Good to see you, my man. I hope you are well. I hope you're doing well. And there was a sense of fear over losing. And this is where Manchester United have been for such a long time. Manchester United have been, and I think this is what is killing us in games at the moment, We go 1-0 up, and I think there is such a fear within the players and the mentality of just trying to get that result over the line that ultimately is what's crippling us and stopping us from going out there and getting the second goal, getting the third goal. I feel like Manchester United need that. They're crying out for a performance where they get the first goal and then they just go and blitz it. This team, this group of players needs to feel what it feels like to go out there and dominate a game. We still need to get, under Amorim, 2 wins in a row. What better way for that to start than against Manchester City at the Etihad? I'm sick to death of hearing off rival fans that this manager hasn't done it yet. Doesn't bother me nearly half as much as it did last year, but it still bothers me. Of course it does. So Manchester United have got a lot of work to do to push forward. The whole purpose of this video was to show you exactly how scattered it had been, to show you exactly where the transfers had been wrong decisions and why that had factored in us getting to where we are today. Too many signings on those lists have been about the big names, the shirt sales, without enough real thought about potential and what the players can do in the future. And we go back to the season before last, we go back to last season where this was the transfer window. And I think this is when you look at it, where I think Ineos really started to have a look at what they wanted to do. Lenny Oro and Z, big up Z. Do you think this is our best squad for years? I think it might be. And I'm glad you've asked that, Z, because this is exactly what I'm talking about now. And I hope you're well, mate. Under Ineos, we have got Lenny Oro, who we know is going to be a player that we utilise for years. Ugarte, definitely not. De Ligt is going to be a player that can absolutely go on and do things for United. He just needs to stay fit. Xerxes, people love Xerxes, so I'll put him in that list. Dorgu, young enough to go out there and still be a player that can go and do loads of things. Heaven, definitely for the future. And then we come to this season. Sesko, young enough to be here for 10 years. Brian, young enough to be here for 4 years, 5 years. Cunha, the same. Le Mans, young enough and hopefully has the potential to go on there and be our goalkeeper for a minimum of 10 years. And Diego Leon. So that is 10 players in the last 3 windows. We'll utilise January. That is 10 players in the last 3 windows. And when you look at it on the face of it, of what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do, I think Manchester United are on the right road here. I think we're on the right track. And look, the mainline media won't have you believe that. The ex-players, who some of them just baffle me with how their opinions are even still relevant in the game. Michael Owen, Rio Ferdinand, United should have gone out and got Declan Rice and Harry Maguire and Harry Kane. Yeah, okay then. Okay, let's just go do that. We'll just go out and knock off 250 million for 2 players. Same ex-pros who would then come out and say, "Oh, United are going out there and blowing their money." Absolute nonsense. We are sick to death of hearing our ex-players come out and talk like they know what it is to run a football club. Rio Ferdinand, you know my thoughts on him. This guy telling us all a couple of years ago that he had it on good authority that the Qatar deal was going to be done on a Tuesday. Should never have recovered from that, really. Should never have recovered from that. But then he's got his podcast now, he does, and he gets the ex-players on. And I mean, look, you should have seen the signs with Rio Ferdinand when he had that fucking TV show. You just got murked, if anyone remembers that, murking players. Absolute nonsense. We need 5 in a row so that guy can get a haircut. Honestly, that guy, I mean, 5 in a row in the league, at the bare minimum, let's have a look. At the bare minimum, based on the fact that you'd say United go and do the unthinkable and beat City. We've got 1 win, actually. City, Chelsea, Brentford, and Sunderland. He could have a haircut on my wedding anniversary. 4 games. The minds are blank with that one. The minds are blank. Oh, man, Anders says, Moxie Shannon was devastated when he was allowed to go. When I see clips or rewatch the interview after he left, you can see how heartbroken the lad was. He would have bled for the club. Future captain for me, he was. If he was still at this club, he'd have been a captain for me. Modern players and snowflake mentality. Remember when you had to... Oh, God. If I didn't get copyrighted for it, I'd put it on. You've got to fucking die to get 3 points. And you know what the best thing about that Neil Warnock video is? When he said all that, and then he what does he say? I'd fucking die for every one of you. Don't make managers like that anymore, do you? Don't make managers like that anymore. Andy Bayliss says, next couple of transfers will be vital, and I'm giving Sesko at least 2 years. Look, Sesko, as I said before, as Manchester United fans, you have to do the right thing with this guy. Do not allow the media to do what they're going to do. Do not allow the rival fans to say what they're going to say. Because if this guy doesn't score in the next 2 games, it will already start. Oh, it's another Rasmus Højlund. United have just sent Højlund out. They may as well save the money and brought a midfielder in. That will be the headline from the journalists. I might trademark it now. That will be the headline. And then you'll get the other Manchester United fan pages saying it. You know, we need to back these lads. We need to back Sesko. The best thing that can happen for Sesko is tomorrow night he scores against Sweden, scores in the next game, comes back with a bit of confidence, and then goes straight into the lineup against City. I can already see it now. I can see Bruno being the man to feed him and chuck some goals. I really can. Not to mention the derby when he got Gerrard sent off on his line. Yeah, that was hilarious, wasn't it? That was hilarious because Ander Herrera was naughty with the challenge he went in on, but he just missed Gerrard, and then Gerrard did the stamp. I love that. Do you remember the heat map? Do you remember the old heat map? Honestly, it's hilarious. Rob Taff says, Vivell buying up prospects in the background. It's a great formula. It is. Big clubs have done it for years. We should be doing the same. And he'll have to wait until we're in Division 2 for a haircut, says Chappie. Come on, Chappie. Let's not do that. We're better than that. We are so much better than that. So let me bring this question back up by Andy, and I want everybody to get involved. Who do we get rid of next? So in the next transfer window, who do we get rid of? Now, he's put up there Casemiro, Ugarte, and Dalot. I think it'll be different. I think you'll see Ugarte go. Casemiro will definitely go. Dalot, I'm not so sure on. I think he should go, but I don't think he will. There will be a couple of surprises in there, though, I think. I think there'll be a couple of surprises as to players who go. I hope I'm wrong in this, but I do see a world where Mainu does. I do. Unless he can sort out his playing time, unless he can sort out what I genuinely worry is a problem with Amorim. And like I said at the start of the video, if you've only just joined, there is talks of a minor civil war within the club where Ruben Amorim was of the opinion, let's just get rid of Mainu. If he doesn't want to play for the club, then let's get rid of him. Whereas Sir Jim stepped in with the other ones, Barada and Wilcox, and they said, no, he's the future. I worry. And no, Z, I definitely don't think before Ugarte. I don't think before Ugarte. I'd like to just point that out. I think if it happens, it would be the same window. That's just one I'm throwing out there to you. That's a worrying one I'm throwing out to you. That is a worrying one. But then there's other players that I think you could see leave. Luke Shaw could potentially go. We could absolutely see another window where we get rid of some of the players who have been here for a long time. And I'm talking Maguire, Luke Shaw, Casemiro. Well, Casemiro's not been here long. Who else is there? Dallow's potentially one, and he's been here years. So there is a window where Manchester United could absolutely change the whole setting and landscape of how this Manchester United team looks going forwards. Ugarte, definitely, he still has value. I mean, I hope we get rid of him. Casemiro, Maguire, and Bruno. And that was the other one I wanted to bring up. Rob Taft, you beat me to it there. Bruno Fernandes, I think, absolutely will leave at the end of the season. I absolutely think that Bruno Fernandes will leave at the end of the season. It would take something crazy to keep Bruno at this club. And the only crazy thing that I can think of is Champions League football. I think Bruno this season has already had a little taste of the fans not being impressed with how he acts in some games. I think he's had a taste for the fact that this central midfield role that he had to play early on was not for him. He will be so happy. Honestly, I'm surprised the camera didn't pan to him when Cunha went off injured, because you'd have seen him going, fucking yes, back in the number 10 role. I think this is the last season we have Bruno. So for Bruno fans that are watching, for Bruno fans and for Bruno haters, enjoy this season, because I don't think he plays next season. And Wahaha is spot on. I think we need to reshape without Bruno. We do. He won't go before the World Cup, and that's the reason why Casemiro refused to leave, by the way. Casemiro didn't want to go anywhere before the World Cup because he wanted to be playing in the best league in the world to make sure he was still keeping himself competitive. I think it's the right thing. As much as I think it's the right thing that Manchester United want to get rid of him. I love Casemiro, but I can see why we tried to get rid of him. How many are we thinking? For me, Casemiro, Ugarte, so Dalot, Xerxes, Bruno, and possibly Shaw. That's 6. Manchester United are on the back end now. I think this is the final season that you will see us struggle to try and sell players, because the players that we were trying to sell were on astronomical wages, and they were so mid. They were so mid for the wages they were on. They were so mid, so it was no wonder that clubs weren't breaking down the door to try and sign them. But when you look at the players now, Casemiro will go on a free. Let me go through the contracts as well. Let me go through the contracts. Let me go through the contracts. Manchester United contracts expiring. Let's have a look, because this will be interesting. I'll share this on the screen, folks. Okay. That's okay. Okay. Let me just zoom this in a second. Zoom will chase the day away. Right. So this is going to be the first batch of players that are going to leave Manchester United this season, the season coming. By the way, Lawrence says, rumour they tried to sell Kobe last spring anyway. Leacher is another one who could go endlessly injured. Good comment, that, because we need to see if this guy can last a season now, because it will be technically a season of staying fit. Danielle doing a noise like a whale then. Maguire could also go. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look. So there's 2 things with this. I think we need to reshape. I've done that. Release Maguire in the season and rehire him as a number 2 keeper. The squad will also be so much younger. Look, there we go. Look, you're jumping there. Let me just get rid of some of these, because we don't need all of these. Get rid of that one. Right. This is not enough. This is the contracts that are due to expire at the end of this season. And straight away, other than Tyrell Malacia, look at the age. Look at the age of those players. Casemiro will be 34 by then. Maguire will be 33 by then. Tom Heaton will be 40 by then. That is ridiculous. So that's this season. We know that that's 4 players. Malacia obviously is in there. Out of those 4 players, I think there's a minimum of 3 that go already. And the 3 that go, okay, Heaton's a goalkeeper, but Malacia, we know we're already building to try and set that up. Casemiro, we'd absolutely have to replace. And also Maguire, we'd have to replace him. Now, there is a contract, bless his heart, of option for another year for Casemiro. I think we know how that's about to go. Let's go for the season after that, though. This one's an interesting one. So Bruno does have the option for another year. But in the next 2 seasons, you've got Luke Shaw by then that would be 32. You've got Martinez, who would be 29 by then. Bruno would be 32. So we are looking in the next 2 seasons of getting rid of a minimum of 5 players who are close or over their 30s. And that, to me, that to me shows just why I think Manchester United are really pushing forward now with getting the youth players in, the players in their early 20s that they can give time to build and push on. I've done that one, haven't I? That tattoo line, love that, man. Yeah, they can all go at the end of the season, no problem, says Moxie. Martinez and Shaw on injury watch. Honestly, I know exactly what you mean. One of the only ones that expire in 27 that we should keep is Manu. I'm sure Manu had an option to extend on there. I think we're going to learn. Yeah, he did. Club option further year. That's fine. Look with this, and Ako's right. I think Dalot must leave as well. But this is why I showed you this, because there is a potential in the next 2 seasons for 5 or 6 or 7 really, really not good players, but really prominent players in our team to leave the club. So there's plenty of change coming for Manchester United. And look at what that coincides with, by the way. Look at what that coincides with. That coincides with 2028. United are going to have to bring players in who can not only better us, but that can take the space of these players that are going to be leaving. It's incredible. With Mainu, it's going to go one way or another. One way or another. It's going to go one way or another this summer. This season. He's either going to get into the team now for a few weeks, play really well, and then the good times will flow. I think we'll get a contract re-signing around January time, or we will see this boil on where he's in the squad, out the squad, and we'll see him go either January or at the end of the season. It's interesting. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We are on our way to 2,000. We are getting there, and it's because of the great work that you do. At the top of the chat here, I have pinned it. Make sure you have a look at becoming a member of this growing community. We've got a lot of spelled community wrong there. Community. You can tell I was rushing. Make sure you, if you'd like to join, make sure you do so. There's plenty of things I've got coming out for the members, which I think are going to be exciting. And it's all because of the hard work that all of you do. The OGs who have been here since day one with me, the people that keep dropping in and dropping out to say hello. Everyone, you've all been incredible. Thank you very much. We are a community, as I say every time, that is growing, and it is because of the hard work that everybody puts in. One thing I want to say is I'm thinking, because we haven't got a game on Saturday or Sunday, depending on what Mrs. Robinson's got planned for me, I'm thinking of doing a non-league watch-along. Because as someone who advocates for non-league football, grassroots football, I think it'd be good to give back to that and show that we are supporting that as a community. But other than that, guys, it's been fantastic. And Andy's saying Maguire. Andy's definitely saying Maguire. Feels like I'm watching a Deji stream with all that singing. Yeah, but I'm not doing Tutu Carmoon or stuff like that, am I? My club. Love that bloke to pieces. Love him. He's so good. Dallo is always making chances. The strikers make the run, but nothing happens because Dallo is on the ball. Watch the Burnley game. You'll understand. I watched it, and Echo. I hear it. I feel it. And on that note, I will see you beautiful legends tomorrow at 6:30. Have a great evening all. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. Drop a comment on the video, and I'll see you on the flip side. Dan United, Brian Brigade, name of the membership, by the way. You will become a member of the Brian Brigade squad, which we already are already, but you know what I'm saying. Love you all. Take care of yourselves, and I am not going to the bloody play. Kev, I'm not allowed.